King Charles has broken his silence, and what he has said is sending political shockwaves through the corridors of Westminster. A stark, unmissable warning, directed not at foreign adversaries, but at Starmer himself. Yes, the King, Britain's head of state, is deeply concerned by the direction this country is taking under Labour's subtle and creeping re-entry into the grasp of Brussels. Behind the polished smiles, scripted interviews, and carefully orchestrated UK-EU summit, something dangerous is unfolding. And now, even the Crown is paying attention. Because on May 19th, history will be made, but not the kind we'll celebrate. It's the first UK-EU summit since Brexit, a summit some hope will reset relations. But make no mistake, this is no reset. This is a rollback, a betrayal, the slow-motion surrender of everything the British people voted for in 2016. And the King knows it. While Starmer and Ursula von der Leyen prepare their champagne toasts in London, the palace is bracing for fallout. Because this isn't just about diplomacy. This is about power, sovereignty, the survival of British independence. And what Starmer is about to sign could change everything. Let's not sugarcoat it. Starmer is floating alignment with EU food standards. Translation: Brussels writes the rules and Britain obeys. He's welcoming the European Court of Justice back into our affairs. That's right, the very court we fought to escape will now be called in to settle British disputes. This is nothing short of a disgrace. And it gets worse. A youth mobility scheme, once dismissed as a non-starter, is now being quietly greenlit. The same free movement that pushed millions to vote Leave is creeping back under a new name: temporary migration, youth exchange. Don't be fooled. It's a backdoor to open borders. And Labour thinks we won't notice. They think the public is too tired, too distracted, too demoralized to care. But King Charles does care. Sources close to the palace say the monarch is increasingly uneasy with the speed and secrecy of Starmer's manoeuvring. His Majesty has always stayed above politics until now, because this is no longer just political. It's constitutional. It's existential. Let's be clear, Starmer is not negotiating, he's capitulating. He's offering UK defence money to EU projects with your tax pounds. He wants to help fund Brussels' military ambitions, while giving up UK intellectual property. All for a seat at the table in a club we chose to leave. What kind of leader does this? One who never believed in Brexit in the first place. One who backed a second referendum. One who called for a customs union. Starmer didn't just oppose Brexit, he fought to cancel it. And now he's finally getting his revenge. He thinks the time is right. After all, Labour's riding high in the polls. But he's ignoring the real danger. The people are waking up. Just look at the recent local elections. Labour took a hammering from the Reform Party, the only party still defending Brexit to the core. Nigel Farage is back in the spotlight, and he's not pulling punches. While Starmer courts EU elites, Farage is rallying the betrayed, and the message is clear. The fight isn't over. But Starmer doesn't care. He's too busy planning how to sneak Britain into the EU's rearmament scheme, into youth migration, into regulatory alignment, into total dependence. And the EU sees their moment. French diplomats are demanding fishing rights again. Brussels wants access to our markets, our seas, and our soldiers. They are circling like vultures, waiting for Starmer to sign away what's left. And what do we get in return? Vague promises, hollow soundbites, a seat at some table where our voice will be politely ignored. Maybe a few photo ops for the BBC. That's it. But for Brussels and Paris, this summit is a goldmine. They are eyeing British contributions to their defence fund, British compliance with their rules, British silence on their overreach. It's no wonder the King has stepped in. Because this isn't just a deal, it's a dismantling. And Starmer's arrogance is staggering. Let's look forward, not back, he says, as if the past doesn't matter. As if the largest democratic mandate in British history can just be forgotten, swept under the rug. No, Prime Minister, we remember. We remember Project Fear. We remember the lies, the sabotage, the elite's warning that Brexit would never happen. And now, after years of resistance, we're watching you try to reverse it, one handshake at a time. But the people haven't forgotten, and neither has the crown. When King Charles hosted ministers at the palace earlier this week, his remarks were carefully worded but unmistakable. He warned of respecting national sovereignty and honoring the voice of the people. A thinly veiled message aimed squarely at Starmer's EU games. This is unprecedented. The monarch signaling discomfort with the government's foreign policy direction. It's a constitutional alarm bell. A moment that should stop the country in its tracks. But will Labour listen? Of course not. Starmer has already promised Brussels more than they ever dreamed. He's preparing to give up more ground in one weekend than Boris Johnson ever did in 5 years. He's selling out our fishing waters, our trade rules, our border controls, piece by piece. And when Reform UK sounds the alarm, Labour dismisses it as populism. When the King cautions restraint, they call it ceremonial concern. When the people object, they are labelled as Little Englanders. Well, here's the truth. The only extremists in this story are the ones willing to burn the Brexit mandate for political convenience. And we're done staying silent. King Charles is watching. Reform UK is rising. The people are stirring, and Starmer is playing with fire. The May 19th summit isn't a diplomatic milestone. It's a moment of reckoning, a test of national will. Will we stand by as Starmer delivers Britain back into the arms of the EU? Or will we rise, speak out, and fight to protect what we won in 2016? Because this is not just about policy. It's about identity. It's about freedom. And if Labour thinks they can quietly undo Brexit while the cameras flash and the papers follow along, they've got another thing coming. The King has spoken. The people are watching. The betrayal will not go unnoticed, and history will remember who stood firm, and who gave it all away. In other news, Keir Starmer is running scared, and is not even hiding it anymore. After Reform UK humiliated Labour in the regional elections, panic set in at Downing Street, hitting DEFCON 1. And now Starmer is throwing Yvette Cooper into the fire, betting the House that she can out-Farage Nigel Farage himself. Yes, that Yvette Cooper, the polished, soft-spoken establishment insider who sips white wine while flipping through policy binders. She's being branded as Labour's immigration warrior. But let's be real, this isn't bold leadership. It's a last-ditch stunt from a government that's lost the plot. Cooper strutted onto the stage this week, and dropped a so-called hardline plan to fix migration. Her grand idea. Ban foreign care workers from helping Britain's crumbling NHS and care homes, slap universities with a new levy for recruiting international students, and slash graduate visa lengths. All while making businesses prove they've exhausted every British option before hiring a single migrant. Sounds tough, right? But look closer. This isn't reform. It's a desperate political performance. A PR move stitched together in a panic room as Labour stares down the barrel of Nigel Farage's insurgent army. Let's get one thing straight, Farage isn't winning because he shouts the loudest. He's winning because people are listening. Because for years communities across the country have watched both Tory and Labour elites roll out the red carpet for unchecked migration while wages stagnated, public services buckled, and neighbourhoods changed beyond recognition. And now Starmer wants us to believe Yvette Cooper is the answer. This is the same Yvette Cooper who's been lurking in the corridors of power for decades. She served in the last Labour government that lost touch so badly it was booted out in 2010. She's been in the Home Affairs Committee, the Treasury, shadowing every possible role. And yet somehow the borders still got weaker, the system still broke, and voters still got ignored. Now she wants to talk tough. Let's not kid ourselves. This so-called crackdown isn't even coherent. On one hand, Cooper boasts about deporting more foreign criminals than anyone since 2018. On the other hand, the same government just signed a trade deal with India, giving Indian workers exemptions on national insurance. So which is it, border control, or open doors for cheap labor and universities? They are being punished now too, with new levies and visa cuts. That's right, the very institutions already struggling with funding are being squeezed harder. Students from abroad pay premium fees, keep the lights on at many campuses, and now they're being used as pawns in Starmer's headline-chasing game. It's chaos dressed up as policy. But don't take my word for it. Her own party is fuming. Labour MPs on the left are already warning that this tilt toward Farage's turf will legitimize his message. And they're right. When you mimic the rhetoric of the right, you don't neutralize them, you validate them. Farage knows it. That's why he pounced on Monday, declaring that the government still won't do what it takes to control the borders. Of course, he's right, because Yvette Cooper isn't challenging the system. She is the system. She's not pounding pints in the pub or railing against elites. She is the elite. Carefully scripted, painfully calculated, and always looking over her shoulder. The woman who once warned David Cameron about the risks of Brexit now wants to lecture voters on the dangers of migration after ignoring them for a decade. It's rich. It's laughable. It's too late. And let's not forget, this isn't just about immigration. It's about trust. For years, Labour brushed off voter concerns, painting them as racist or ignorant, and now suddenly they've seen the light. No, they've seen the polls. Cooper's sudden transformation isn't conviction, it's convenience. Starmer's government is bleeding support. Reform UK is surging. And now they are scrambling to plug the hole. But it won't work because voters aren't stupid. They know when they are being manipulated. They know when politicians talk tough during election season only to soften the second the cameras turn off. And let's be clear, Yvette Cooper is no Nigel Farage. She's not a movement. She's not a threat to the establishment. She is the establishment trying to play dress-up as a rebel. But voters aren't buying it. Because when Farage speaks, they hear anger, authenticity, and rebellion. When Cooper speaks, they hear polished press releases and political gymnastics. She may be the most prepared Home Secretary in recent memory, but that's exactly the problem. Britain doesn't want a policy veteran. They want a border defender, a fighter, someone who's not afraid to say the system is broken and tear it down. Cooper, with her cold Chardonnay and her careful image management, isn't that person. The truth is, Starmer's gamble won't save him. It'll expose him. Because in trying to copy Farage's message, Labour is showing just how far they've drifted from their own identity, and how terrified they are of the people they once claimed to represent. Britain deserves real answers on migration, not staged performances, not lukewarm U-turns, and certainly not more from the same class of politicians who created this mess in the first place. Yvette Cooper may be Labour's answer to Farage, but she's not the answer voters are looking for.